There is something deeply unsettling about dealing with someone who never apologizes, because no matter how clear the harm is, you are left questioning your own reality. And psychology says that uncertainty is one of the most emotionally exhausting states for the human brain, because your mind keeps searching for closure that never arrives, and your nervous system stays alert, waiting for a repair that does not come. At its core, the psychology of people who never apologize is not about strength or confidence, but about protection. Because research shows that for some individuals, saying sorry feels like a direct threat to their identity, their self-image, and their sense of control. And instead of repairing the relationship, their brain prioritizes self-defense over connection. One major reason some people never apologize is ego protection, because your brain is wired to avoid anything that feels like a loss of status, and for these individuals, admitting fault feels like shrinking themselves, so their mind reframes situations, rewrites events, or minimizes harm to avoid the discomfort of being wrong. In psychology, calls this a defense mechanism designed to preserve self-worth even at the cost of relationships. Another powerful factor is emotional immaturity, which does not mean a lack of intelligence, but a lack of emotional skills, because research shows that emotionally immature people struggle to tolerate shame, guilt, and vulnerability. So instead of facing uncomfortable feelings, they avoid them entirely, and apologizing requires sitting with discomfort. It's long enough to acknowledge impact, which their nervous system simply does not know how to do. For some people, never apologizing is linked to control, because silence and refusal can act as a subtle power move. And psychology says that when someone withholds accountability, it places the emotional burden on the other person, forcing them to either accept unresolved pain or keep chasing validation, which reinforces a dynamic where the non-apologizer stays in control without ever having to change. Childhood conditioning also plays a major role, because if someone grew up in an environment where mistakes were punished harshly or apologies were seen as weakness, their brain learned early that admitting fault leads to danger, not repair. And as adults, they carry that survival response forward, automatically shutting down whenever accountability is required, even in safe situations. There is also a trauma-based explanation where some people associate apologizing with humiliation, loss, or emotional exposure. In psychology, it says that trauma narrows perception, making the brain prioritize safety over empathy. So instead of seeing the other person's pain, they are consumed by their own internal alarm system, which blocks the ability to say sorry, even when they intellectually know they should. What all of these patterns have in common is not cruelty, but fear. And research shows that people who never apologize are often more afraid of emotional collapse than they are unwilling to care. But understanding this does not mean you have to tolerate harm, because psychology also says that repeated lack of repair slowly erodes trust, self-worth, and emotional safety. If you have dealt with someone who never apologizes, it is not because you asked for too much or explained things poorly, but because their brain is avoiding something they are not ready to face. And the most important realization is that closure does not always come from them. Sometimes it comes from understanding the pattern and choosing how much access they get to your emotional world. If this explains something you have experienced, take a moment to reflect on how often you chase apologies that were never coming, and consider whether clarity might be more powerful than waiting. And if you want more psychology that helps you understand people without losing yourself, stay with this channel and explore deeper insights into the human mind.